Hello, and welcome to another episode of Quarantine Kitchen. Today we're going to be tackling steaks on our freshly seasoned cast iron skillet. Meant to do this a few days ago, but best laid plans of mice and men. I've got our steaks here from my neighbors at Avril Bleh, and I'm going to throw everything else on the board for you so you can follow along at home. So this is going to be a very straightforward recipe. There are very few ingredients involved. We're going to let the steaks do most of the work for us. So as of this point, I've let them sit out for the past half hour just to come up to room temperature. And all we're going to do now is just take a paper towel and pat them down a bit so that they are good and dry and ready for us to salt and pepper them. You know, and when I originally started this, I told my college friends about it and mentioned that I just picked up some steaks from the Kroger, and they started asking me every question about it. And they were right. For this dish to come out as well as it should on our freshly cast iron skillet, we need to use some good steaks. So I'm glad I went down to Avril Bleh, supported local business. We're going to be finalizing these steaks with a nice butter bath, but the only thing that's going to go on to season these is just going to be some salt and some pepper. And that's it. Now that our steaks are seasoned, the next step is to heat up our cast iron skillet. Now we're going to put this on high for about 3 minutes, and we're going to fill up the bottom with a bit of vegetable oil. Now, I ran out of vegetable oil, so all I have is olive oil, and we're going to hope that this doesn't create a smoke bomb in my apartment. But we are going to let this heat up for 3 solid minutes so that when we finally put our steaks in here, they sizzle immediately and get that nice sear on. Now that our cast iron skillet is ready to go and smoking, we're going to take our steak and throw it right on. There we go. Oh, beautiful sizzle. And we're just going to push it down with our tongs around just ever so lightly. We don't want the juices to come out, but just so that it makes full contact with the, I have to kill the fan in between takes so you guys can hear me. But after only about 3 minutes, you want to give that a flip. And if you did your cast iron skillet right, you should have no problem picking it right up off of that. So I'm going to turn down the heat just a smidge and let this cook for another couple of minutes and get the fan going. So after you flip the steak, it does get cool pretty quick, which is good because I don't have a meat thermometer, so I have to use the old finger method. Oh God, that's dirty. The finger method is, oh no, we're leaving that on, is if you want to know how a steak feels, you can kind of tell how well it's cooked. So if you take your thumb and your index finger and you touch right here, that's how a raw steak feels like. Then we've got medium rare where it gets a little tougher, medium where it's pretty tough, and then if you do your pinky and your thumb, it's rough. Right now, we're kind of medium rare into medium, which is good because I'm going to kill the heat to get the butter on, and it's going to continue cooking for a little bit after. So I've killed the heat to the cast iron. I'm going to take my pat of butter, put it right in the center, and let that melt off. And then I'm going to take a couple of cloves of garlic and put them right in the pan. And what I'm going to let happen here is the butter's going to melt and start to pool, and I'm going to just baste the steak in its own juices and the butter and the garlic mixture. Need to tilt. Ooh. And don't forget your mitt. The environment has cooled down enough that I can stop using the fan, and all we're going to do is get this guy right up. Ooh, a little darker on this side than I would have liked, but it's got a fantastic golden in between the points of contact that were a little too close to the pan. The most important step now is, even though this thing looks beautiful, is just to let it sit for 5 minutes. We want everything to settle, and we don't want to burn the roof of our mouths, even though it would probably be worth it at this step. It's been about 5 minutes, which is great because it allowed the steak to cool, and now my apartment looks less like the opening of Silent Hill. It got smoky. So, all right, I'm hungry. I'm excited to dive right in. Still juicy on the inside. All right, the butter flavor came out nicely. I think I left the oven on high for too long. This came out a bit more well done. It's been a long time. I can say that I definitely under-seasoned, so I'm going to put a little bit more salt and pepper on there. Again, the steak worked in our favor. This is a very nice cut, and I think because of that, the flavor is still there. I think I was just juggling too much with the camera and the stove, and it was probably a little too high because usually I like a good medium rare, and as you can tell, that is cooked all the way through. There's no pink there. Still very good. And luckily, I've still got another steak I can give this another try on. The things I'm happy with is that our cast iron worked out perfectly. The seasoning kept it non-stick and definitely conducted the heat extremely well. Be careful, or I'm going to be careful in the future on watching this thing cook as it keeps going. And I did grab one of the pieces of garlic and I just put it on top and had a bite with that, and it came out really well. That was well steeped in the beef's juices. But thank you for watching. From my kitchen to yours, stay safe, and I'll talk to you next time.